Hey everyone. So today I want to show you how we're going to practice our arc welding. And to do this, I've had to get quite creative. As you can see here in the lower screen window, I have a webcam mounted to my forehead. And it actually works pretty well because doing this, you can actually see what I'm going to do here. So in order to practice our welding today, we're going to practice arc welding. Now, for those of you guys who don't know what arc welding is, don't worry, we're going to go over this much more in depth coming up. But arc welding is also known as stick welding. In order to do this, we need to have 4 items. And the 4 items we need are the 4 items you'll see in front of us. We need a pencil, we need a set of vice grips, we need a 1/4 inch washer, and we need a blank sheet of paper. And what you're going to do is you're going to take the vice grips and you want to adjust them so they're just barely open like this. Okay? And after we do that, we're going to take the vice grips and we want to gently clamp them on the edge of the pencil like this. Now, we don't want to crush the pencil. We don't want to actually like totally clamp the silver part all the way in. We don't want to crush it. We just want to make it so it's holding the pencil so it's firm. We want to make sure it's not going to move around on us. What we're going to do is we're going to take our washer, we're going to put it on our paper like this, and we're going to hold this like we would hold an arc welder. Okay? And what we're going to do is we're going to go in the washer and we're going to practice doing a zigzag motion like you would see on an arc welder. So we're going to go back and forth like this at about this speed. And the idea here is you want to be able to do this continually for at least 3 inches, because that's about how long an arc is. And you want to make this so that your weld pattern is only about a 1/4 inch wide, which is why you want to use the 1/4 inch washer. And you can see here that as I'm going along, I have to adjust myself as I'm moving this down. And you want to be able to keep moving continuously while you're doing this. You don't want to stop. And you can see here that when I did just that, I jerked it a little bit. And now I have that little guy right there, which does not look very good. And I want to be able to move continuously all the way down. And you're going to find that as you're doing this, you'll need to readjust yourself. So that when you go back a second time, you want to start in a position where you know you're going to be able to work your way down a lot easier. So I'm going to do my second one at about the same speed. And I want to go back and forth in the washer and drag the washer down as I go, like you see here. And you want this to be continual, and you want each one of the zigzags to be only about 1/8 of an inch apart. You don't want them to be super close, and you don't want them to be super far apart. So you can see here where I'm consistent and where I'm inconsistent. You can see with this one, I went too far out. You can see with this one, I didn't press hard enough. With this one, I zigzagged too far apart. And with this one, I zigzagged too far apart as well. You want to be nice and consistent. So like in this area right in here, I'm really consistent. But in a lot of the other ones, I'm not very consistent. So you want to come back again. And you want to practice again. And you want to get yourself in a position where you're actually comfortable to do this. And you want each one of the zigzags to only be about 1/8 to a 1/16 of an inch apart. You don't want the zigzags to be very far apart. And the speed that I'm going here when I'm doing these zigzags is about the speed that you want to be going when you do this. I know this seems mundane, but this is the exact motion that you will be using when you get out and start to arc weld. Anybody who's arc welded before can tell you that this is exactly the motion that you need to practice. The only thing harder than this will be the actual striking of the arc. And those that have had to strike the arc before for welding know what I'm talking about. You want to do this with 2 hands. One will be doing the side-to-side motion. So if you're right-handed, you have the one doing side-to-side motion, and your left hand is what's going to use to stabilize it. And when you're all said and done, all your zigzags should look much better. And you can see here that as I'm moving forward, this one wasn't very good, but this one is much more consistent. So I'm getting better as I'm working my way down the paper. Well, except for that little bobble right there. Now, if you don't have pliers, if you don't have channel locks, if you don't have vice grips like these, another option is to get a standard set of pliers, just a regular set of pliers, and clamp it on the end here and then tape the pliers to it. But the idea here is you need to have something that will hold on to the end of the pencil like this, and that holds a full-length pencil all the way out to replicate holding a welding rod, okay? And you can see here all my different arc patterns, my weld patterns. Some are pretty good, some are better than others. If you really want to start getting practice, we did a zigzag pattern here. Another one that you can practice is doing the circles. So I'm going to do my circular weld pattern. And my circular weld pattern isn't very good. We can come back again, circular weld pattern. And it wants to be pretty consistent when you're working your way down. And the last one we can try is the half moon, which is just as it sounds. That's a little bit harder to do with the washer. Another one is the whip. Okay, so what I want you to do is I want you to practice each one of these weld patterns in each quarter of the paper. So that means in this top corner, so this corner, top left, will be left right, left right. In this corner will be circular. In this corner will be half moon, and in this corner will be the whip. So like these patterns will go up here, this pattern will go in this corner, this pattern will go in that corner, and this pattern will go in this corner. When you turn this thing in today, by the end of the period, you need to have an entire quarter of the section of the paper for the left right. You need to have an entire quarter of the paper for the circular, entire quarter of the paper for the half moon, and entire quarter of the paper for the whip. It should be totally filled up with weld patterns, and you should try each one of these 4 weld patterns, and you will get better for each one. But that's what I'll be looking for today's assignment, okay? All right, guys, hopefully you enjoyed watching my goofy little video here. I know I look goofy, but this actually works really well for demonstrating what I need to do. So, yeah, thanks, guys. Get to work.